broke it. Doesn't smell like... Nope. Doesn't smell like anything. This is all gonna make sense in a second. What's up, folks? My name's Justin Khanna, and this video is really close to my heart. One, because I'm a spoon fanatic, and two, because I genuinely know what it feels like to suck at quenelling. No longer. In this video, I'm gonna teach you not only how to master the quenelle, but a way to do it where you can practice for hours at a time. So maybe we should start with what a quenelle actually is. Etymologically, it comes from the word knödel, which is German, which means dumpling. The French then took that and made it into the quenelles that they make, which is meat or fish bound with egg, and then they poach them. You'll take that mixture, you've got 2 spoons, you'll kind of go back and forth between the spoons. You'll shape it into like this 3-sided egg mass, and then you'll put it in your poaching water, usually something like this. You can make hundreds of these little dumplings one by one. As long as your spoon is consistent, that means your size is gonna be the same. And doing that motion kind of like compacts the mix so there's no air bubbles inside of your quenelles. And so then it became a classic. Once upon a time, someone was like, I see you over there with your 2 spoons. I wanna do that shape with just 1 spoon. And thus the rocher was born. But for this video and for life in general, don't call it a rocher. No one calls it a rocher. Literally everyone I know and everyone that I talk to personally calls it a quenelle. And that's also the verb for that motion, to quenelle something. Wikipedia's dictionary says it's a word, but at this point we're so far away from the German knödel that I don't think it really matters. If chef tells you to quenelle that, do this. So I know it's kind of confusing. This is a quenelle and this is a quenelle, but for all intents and purposes, this video is going to be about this kind of quenelle. The best way to think about it is if you have anything that's relatively soft, you can probably shape it into a 2-spoon quenelle. So that's ice cream, pate, potato salad, all of it can be made into that 3-sided egg shape. But then there's this special category of foods that have just the right consistency where you can maneuver a one-handed quenelle with them. This includes tempered butter, whipped cream, a freshly paco-jetted container of ice cream, pork fat, the list goes on. But with this technique, this motion with your spoon, it's not something that we're used to doing. It's part of the reason chefs like using it so much. It's not only beautiful, but it takes skill to execute. You're showing off when you plate with a quenelle. You're saying, look, I scooped this ice cream seconds ago with my bare hands, which is completely different than if you were to take one of these things and scoop 150 of them before service and just stash them in the freezer. And with techniques that require skill, that means that you need to practice to get good at them. The problem with the quenelle is, like, say for example, you need knife skills practice. You can go to the store, buy a potato, and go home and practice your brunoise. I mean, hell, you can buy a 5-pound bag of potatoes and practice for hours. I've been there, it helps a lot. But with the quenelle, it's different. You have to have a certain quantity of food. It sometimes has to be at a certain temperature. You can't take like a little half deli with butter in it and practice your quenelles out of it. It's just not enough. And I don't know about you, but I don't have a Paco Jet at home to spin my ice cream in. So how the hell are you supposed to practice when the only practice you get is at work with your sous chef breathing down your neck? Back when I was at the French Laundry, we would serve the butter with the bread service as a one-handed quenelle. As part of my station every day, I would have to temper Diane St. Clair butter to perfect quenelle consistency and then execute on 20 to 40 quenelles, depending on the number of guests we had. I'd have to use a very specific spoon and they had to be perfect, like 3 Michelin-star perfect. No air bubbles, the tip had to be perfect, the amount that you put in the spoon had to be perfect. And I remember back when I started, that project of doing 20 to 40 quenelles took me about 45 minutes. I would have to do like 3 bad quenelles just to get 1 good one. And I was like, I have to figure out a way to practice this. And so I was recommended Crisco. Not being paid by Crisco to do this, it's legit just the best. The consistency is right. It doesn't have to be refrigerated, so you don't have to temper it at all. It's a fat, so it behaves very similarly to either butter or how ice cream will with a hot spoon. And best of all, this is way cheaper than buying a bunch of really expensive butter or ice cream that's just gonna melt. I'm like 94% sure this is available internationally, but it's literally just vegetable shortening. You can probably find it wherever you are. So you've got your Crisco? Yes, perfect. Go ahead and grab a mug of your choice. I just grabbed this one that Hubert gifted to me that says, oh, for fuck's sake on it. I say use a mug because it's gonna hold the heat a lot longer than glass or plastic will. Plus you're working with a fat, so this is a lot easier to clean after your practicing is done. Grab your favorite quenelle spoon. I've got a Lady Hamilton here. This is my personal favorite spoon. I think the shape is really nice. If you don't have one of these, I linked one up in my kit. That's like a set of 6 that I think looks decently close, at least to a shape that would work well for a quenelle. But I mean, if you've been watching my stuff for a while, you probably have a spoon in mind. All right, so we've done the first few practice quenelles. We've gotten the initial jitters out of the way. The key when you're doing this is to make sure you take a big spatula and you smooth down This is about maybe just about halfway full. And I'm creating kind of like this ramp up against the side of the container. And what that's doing is making sure that I have a nice bubble-free zone where I can quenelle out of. If you have like a third pan, like a wide third pan, you can do this maneuver. Take one of my spoons. And what I'm doing here is I'm pushing up against the side, rolling it back the other way. I'll clean it up against the sides of the container. And then you can either do a firm slap down on whatever plate you're doing. If it starts to stick on you, you can rub it up against the bottom of your hand. That'll generate some heat. And then it should just fall right off. And I do this little tip flick at the end to make sure that my tip stays as pointy as possible. And I'll just go around the container like this, pushing that mass, using the side of the container sometimes to round it out a little bit. If it's not okay, just knock it right back into the container. Go back with a better spoon. This is actually a different spoon. It's not the Lady Hamilton. I just want to show you. You can still get a beautiful quenelle out of a not Lady Hamilton spoon. It's a push, twirl, and drag. That's the motion. And everybody does it a little bit differently. Some people like to push, drag, and then curl. This is just the way that I personally do it. And that's about it. You can get quite a few from this size of container, and it's also probably similar to like a third pan or like a Paco, like this is like a large Paco Jet container, just so you can get some practice working out of a larger size of product. You'll find that it's really easy to get that first quenelle out of a fresh container of stuff, but it gets increasingly difficult as the quantity goes down and you have all these marks in the container. So creatively solve that problem, find your way to do it. And this kind of practicing is the kind of work that's gonna make service a lot easier when the pressure's on. Believe it or not, it's actually beneficial to practice with a spoon that's not the perfect shape for the quenelle, because you get that muscle memory down. And then when you do get a perfect spoon, it's like a dream. I hope you found this video valuable. Flashback to when I used to quenelle butter for my station. After practicing with Crisco, I was able to cut my time down for that project to under 3 minutes. I like very clearly remember that was my fastest, 40 quenelles in 3 minutes. And it used to take me 45 minutes. This really works, it helped me, and I hope it's gonna help you. Have a technique that you're frustrated with that you'd like to see me make a video about? Leave it down low in the comments. I guarantee you're not the only one. Also, this seems like a great time to give away that chrome knife bag. That video did just hit 200 likes. The winner is Justin Bastian. Congratulations for winning the bag. Maybe not a huge congratulations for having a 1-hour commute. I've sent you a message. Chrome will be shipping that bag out to you shortly. Thanks to everyone for commenting on that video. It was really cool to see, like, some of you can just walk to work and some of you have to like walk to a bus, to a train, to another something to get to work every day. Hopefully you're passing some of that time with the Emulsion Podcast. I hope you have a great weekend. If you're off, enjoy yourself. If you're working, I hope you have a successful service. My name's Justin Khanna. Have a good one. All right, so I've got a plate. I've got my Crisco here. Got my mug with my hot water in it. That's got my spoons in it as well. I leave the spoons in the water. Sometimes chefs will put multiple spoons in the water so that while one is being scooped, the other one can be used for quenelle. I'll push the contents and then scoop. All right, so I clearly had some difficulties with, it's probably too cold in my apartment. I took this, microwave the water in here. I remember you can also take like a small pot and use that with boiling water in it. So this water's super, super hot. This should help us a lot. That one's better. Push, twirl. It's okay to say no. It's okay to reject one. Go back for another one. Push in, pivot around the point of the spoon. And it looks like that. Then you just gotta keep going.